Alrighty, Steve, time to turn our attention to some collegiate football and the fact that we're only, get this, Steve, 48 days away.
Very good.
From football time in Oklahoma.
Well, you know, on one hand, there's been less football talk than normal, it seems. And I believe it's because the Thunder's had an offseason summer chock full of just critical decisions for that franchise. But the Big 12 football media days kicking off in Frisco, Texas tomorrow. And with new quarterbacks taking over in Norman and Stillwater, we expect the return of the fabulous football fervor this state's known for on the call-in shows and the water cooler chatter. Now, to break down some of the expected storylines this week, let's welcome in Lee Benson, live from the practice side of the Dallas Cowboys. Lee, what's happening? And give us a sneak peek at some storylines, pal.
Dean and Harold, yeah, you know, first off, it's going to be nice to see all the Big 12 football teams all together in one place, because that means that football must be right around the corner here at Media Days. It's always the unofficial start of the football season. It always kind of feels that way. As far as storylines go, I've got one for OU, one for Oklahoma State, and one all-encompassing storyline to watch out for this week. So I'll start with the Sooners. And I could go with a few different storylines for OU. The quarterback situation and the defense will be talked about. But I think the OU storyline that will get the most national attention this week will be whatever Lincoln Riley says in response to his recent comments about Georgia. You know, in short, earlier this month, Riley said the Bulldogs wouldn't have a top-5 defense if they played in the Big 12. If you heard or read the full quote, Riley clearly did not slander Georgia in any way, but some members of the media and also SEC fans blew it out of proportion. Riley's surely going to be asked about that tomorrow. By the way, SEC Media Days begins tomorrow as well. Kirby Smart in Georgia will go on Tuesday. We'll see if they're asked about that this week. Moving over to Oklahoma State, who'll be here on Tuesday. Quarterback will be a discussion point. Like Oklahoma, the Cowboys will not be bringing any QBs to Frisco. And also like OU, defense a major topic for Oklahoma State. How will defensive coordinator Jim Knowles' 4-2-5 defense translate into the Big 12? Knowles had a couple solid defenses and also some very weak defenses at Duke over the last 7 to 8 years. But the main storyline to watch out for is what will Mike Gundy say when asked about Mike Holder's recruiting-related comments he made last month on the Pistols Firing podcast. Gundy has not spoken publicly about this yet, although he did send at least one tweet that may or may not have been referencing the comments. Kind of a cryptic tweet. And finally, Texas will get a lot of attention on Tuesday. We'll see if Tom Herman says anything interesting as he heads into his second year in Austin. But I'm actually interested in how West Virginia handles media days this week. There has not been expectations this high for the Mountaineers since Geno Smith played quarterback. And I'm drinking the Will Grier Kool-Aid, so that means that I'm pretty high in West Virginia myself. But I'm a bit worried because the over-under for the Mountaineers win total-wise is just 7. So maybe West Virginia's not going to be as good as we think they're going to be, or as some people like me think they're going to be. I guess we'll find out in the next 2 or 3 months or so. So that's what's going on here in Frisco ahead of Big 12 football media days. Dean and Harold, what are your storylines that you're looking forward to watching out for this week?
Well, Lee, thanks for the great report. We'll look forward to hooking up with you. Storyline number 3 for me, how good is this defense? Last we saw of them, Georgia scored a tidy little 54 on them in a heartbreaking Rose Bowl national semi-loss. Number 2, quarterback play. OU and OSU are like most of the other conference teams, breaking in the new quarterbacks. The biggest key to the season for me, though, is how effective will the quarterback or other leaders be in replacing Mayfield's greatest attribute, which in my opinion, it's a rare leadership ability and the will to win that got everyone pulling on the same rope and that delivered boundless confidence and energy, and most importantly, a leader who was consistently able to help teammates play to their maximum potential, Harold.
All right, for me, how did the Sooners' new faces respond to the pressure of playing for the defending champions? Kyler Murray in this role, QB. Now, here's one thing. Does he get injured with the whole future of baseball ahead of him? That's something to look out for. And I'm really high on Brandon Radley-Hiles. Is he the stud of OU's defense really needs? Storyline number 2. Will there be a big deal made out of this Gundy-Holder beef, if you will? And how many coaches might be on the hook here? David Beatty, Cliff Kingsbury, or is this it? Like Bill Snyder. Storyline number 1, who's challenging OU? Is it West Virginia or Texas? Did they live up to the hype? Are they back? Does TCU create a leap and create a shock? Who knows? So here's what the Big 12 media poll looks like this year. OU predicted to four-peat as conference champs, getting 46 first-place votes. OSU with its lowest preseason ranking since 2014 coming in at 5th. But just how accurate are we, the media, when predicting these things, Dean?
Well, let's just take a look. What do you say?
Let's take a look at it.
Okay, let's see how we did last year with the preseason prediction. Here's a look at that media poll going into the 2017 season. Just like this year, OU predicted to win the Big 12. OSU right behind them, the 2 spot. Pretty high on Kansas State, not so much on TCU, Harold.
And here's how it actually played out. TCU, the biggest overachievers last year, finishing as runners-up to the Sooners, who lived up to the preseason hype and took home their 3rd consecutive Big 12 championship. Now, Dean, you know, you and I both had a vote, but let's talk about your votes here. Show us yours.
Well, here's my team votes. I have OU first, but Texas second. I expect better quarterback play in Austin, improved quality of players and of the coaching under Herman. I have them second, and beginning of what I think will be a run of a decade full of bitter battles with Oklahoma, like the good old days, with those 2 teams separating themselves from the others. I have OSU higher than the media had them. I have them at 4, and look out if they start out 6-0, benefiting from kind of a soft non-conference slate, although Boise could challenge. I expect super stud freshman quarterback Spencer Sanders to emerge at least by the second half of the season.